Did you see? There was a comment for you in one of the
What did someone say?
one of my friends when Chelsea lost to.
Someone told me to hold that.
No, he was like, "Where's Nelson? Where's?" I was just
Where's
like,
Messi?
Where is Messi?
Where's Messi?
What is Messi? One of my other friends commented about Palmers, and he was like, "Great stuff, man. This is gonna help me with my betting." I'm like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, that's what we want.
When you want to do a deal, get it on. Got better.
Let's start.
Let's start. Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Ball IQ Podcast. Tolu, Real Madrid fan.
Elson, Chelsea.
Hello.
I was thinking about.
This is making the cut.
No, I was thinking about. I said let's start, and I was thinking about the fellow Cootie song that starts with that line.
Let's start. Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Ball IQ Podcast. I'm Tolu, Real Madrid fan.
Nelson, Chelsea fan.
Should we start about our experience yesterday? We went to the Dortmund versus Monterrey game.
Definitely was a highlight for sure. I
Yeah.
mean, we kind of went all out. We got a great experience as a fan. Kind of like a tunnel access. Got to see the teams go out, feel the energy.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're out there. We're this Ball IQ's
in the field.
Yeah, we're in the streets with it, and yeah, we could have vlogged, but we'll see if we'll do that in the coming episodes.
Yes, and you spoke about the tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
That was a cool experience. Honestly, like I hear when people think that America tried to Americanize the sport with certain things, but some of these things kind of hit.
That, in my opinion, as a fan, from a fan experience perspective, is something you don't really get that in Europe.
No,
and it is pretty cool.
Yeah,
but admittedly, Tolu and I could see the looks on some of the players' faces. They weren't. They're like, this is way too close. Like walking onto the pitch with your team should be a sacred act. And I think in Barcelona, in their stadium, they have a chapel right next to their walkout. That's how sacred of the walkout on the pitch. We've completely commercialized the entire thing. There was smoke. There was a whole walkout thing, but it was, from a fan's perspective, it was really, really cool.
Hey man, it was cool. I think the person that looked the most displeased was Joe Bellingham. Yeah. Job was like,
Job looked at me. I feel like through my soul, he was like he just saw the cameras and he was like, or the phones rather, and he's just like, really?
Like, what is this?
Unimpressed.
Yeah, but I got to see Sergio Ramos, man.
Yeah,
Capitan. That was cool to see. Maybe because we're tall, like me, you and I.
Yeah, well, footballers are not tall.
Yeah, but like
the goalies were tall.
Kobe
was a big dude.
Yeah, but I look at Sergio Ramos. I'm like, man, If Sergio Ramos is marking me, I'll give me the ball right here. He's not getting it.
That guy is.
He looked like a regular guy.
Master of the dark arts. Yeah. Knuckles in your ribs, knuckles in the kidney, and also just incredible positioning. I mean,
positioning IQ, crazy
goat. So
crazy. He was aggressively leading the line. You could tell, like, obviously the defense was moving to his tone and his organization. It was cool to see that live as well. But it's cool to see him live. And in the tunnel, he was the only one acknowledging the fans. I like that.
Oh, for sure. I mean, the fans were screaming his name, and he was winking and big upping the fans as well. So I mean, the atmosphere down there, 10 of 10. The hate when Dortmund came out.
Oh my god!
Predominantly Monterrey fans down
there. For sure. But that, I think that's what will make that whole tunnel fan experience a little too much, because of the opposition team or the team that the crowd is not for.
Right.
Like when they're lining up there and they're hailing abuses and boos right there. And you have to stand there for 5 minutes before that's
waiting
a little
for
too
everything.
much.
Yeah, it's a lot, and it was not a balanced mix of. I mean, there was a few Dortmund fans there, but it was just such a not European thing that they just didn't want any part of it. So but the passion on both sides when against Dortmund, and then obviously as Monterrey took the field and in support of Sergio Ramos, and very very cool environment, atmosphere to be in as a third party.
Yep.
Not a dog in the fight, just there to watch great footy.
Tell them who was sitting behind us.
Oh man, yeah, right behind us in the section, it looked like was probably the footballing board of directors for both teams, Dortmund and also Monterrey. But directly behind us was definitely the Dortmund brass, and you could hear quite a bit of German the entire time. A lot of vowels, and
consonants.
Yeah, consonants and consonants rather, and it was just really cool. Really cool to soak it all in, and then after the game, watch them shake hands, both delegations, and leave. So, like I said, just lucky to have such a cool stadium in our backyard.
Yeah. It was again that experience. I didn't clock that they were behind us. I think you said something. I think we saw somebody taking a photo with somebody. I'm like, who is that? And I stood up and looked back, and all I saw was pinstripe suits.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to Dortmund's board, I don't like. I bet if it was Bayern, I would have recognized them.
Oliver Kahn,
some of those guys that you just. Because whenever you're watching a Bayern game, you just see those faces. They'll pan on that board since they have so much power. But when it comes to Dortmund, I don't really know the brass there. So I didn't really, off of looking at anybody at least, see anyone. But great experience. And we'll talk about the game here a little bit later on.
We can just go ahead and talk about the game
now. Let's dig in.
So, number one, number 17, I kept telling number 17, Luke's techie, was playing on the left in the first half, a bit on the right in the second half, went back to the left. Jesus Corona. I'm like,
what was his? No disrespect. What was his hair? Style? Was it blonde or
no?
Was
it wasn't
the
blonde.
Guy with the ponytail.
He was the guy. Middle ponytail. Yeah.
That man. He looked a threat the majority of the game
throughout until he came out.
Yeah, like it was like feed me the ball,
give me the ball.
I've got
shuffle, beat his man.
Yeah.
Then I was watching the highlights today because I just thought it would be cool to see the highlights of a game I was actually at. And I'm like, oh, that's Jesus Corona. He used to play for Porto and Sevilla, I believe. And I'm like, oh, I know him.
Yeah, it's funny. I was talking with a group of my friends, and they're like looking at the Monterrey lineup. They're like, why do I recognize more names on this squad than the Dortmund side? There's a couple of blasts from the past names. Yeah. I honestly, I didn't know Ramos had been in Monterrey.
Yeah.
You told me that. Yeah, so like that was a kind of a, like I said, we already talked about how cool that was, but just they had some gems in their roster for sure.
Sergio Canales is there. The number 6 guy, I forget his name, that was shooting on sight. He was tall. He played like like a Steven Nzonzi type profile.
What a shout!
How tall and carrying the ball. There's another player that I'm blanking. I used to play for Villarreal. He had that similar profile. I forget his name. I'm looking at him right now. He used to play for Watford, and he went to Etienne Capoue. I think it is Etienne Capoue. They played he looked like those two players to me. So I was watching him play. He's a very, very good player. But the game, I know we were both talking about Monterrey's high line.
Yeah, I mean it was suicidal, and they didn't learn. By the end of the first half, it could have been 3, maybe 4.
4.
Guirassy could have been on a hat trick easily.
4 goals.
Yeah, easily. And it didn't. It was just very strange to watch in real time. I mean, I've watched plenty of games at home against Spurs or just followed Tottenham this past season, and you see the high line. But to see it in person and see the adjustment not be made is kind of nuts. Because they just Dortmund had their way with that setup, and in knowing the skill set of some of the Dortmund players, it was probably a dream scenario from a tactical situation for some of those pacey players who were.
Adeyemi, just call him by name. Adeyemi was like. Thank you, God.
God.
He was staying right by Ramos right there.
anybody who's blessed with an incisive pass or somebody who can just really unlock the defense, and then it's a foot race, and you just need to make that final ball into somebody who can finish. Who Garassi, who was very, like I said, good on the night. So
yeah, he was very good on the night. He scored. He should have scored the other two. So that kind of like puts him in a weird place. But we're talking when we're at the stadium, like United needs a striker, right?
Yeah, these types of I was saying these tall, strong African strikers that are in Bundesliga. Kolo Muani was one of he's French,
Yeah, but
you
yeah,
know what I
he's
mean.
go
And
ahead.
Girassi is another.
Papi Cisse, remember Papi
I
Cisse
do
came
remember.
from
Who can
there?
forget?
Yeah.
And
Oh
then
yeah, of course you can't
I
remember
will never
that
forget.
goal.
Yeah, and another guy, Victor. I think Boniface is still
Yeah,
in
it's still in
Leverkusen. So
Leverkusen. Yeah.
there's some talent there. These guys are
Sorry to cut you. Victor Osimhen used to play in Lille.
correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's some talent there that can really cross over. I think is just ready. And Girassi, I think, has been at Dortmund's just a they'll slap a price tag on him and someone will come soon. They just
Yeah.
develop. Um,
Players for Bayern.
yeah, players for Bayern. But honestly, the the kind of trend that you see with Dortmund that you don't really see with other Bundesliga clubs is they are open to taking British players on loan. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And breaking them. Obviously they know we're not going to keep this player. He's not
Yeah.
ours, but this player is going to maintain our position in the league.
Yeah.
Or say we do. Sometimes there's a situation where they actually do buy the player, and then they'll buy that player, and the other club will have a buyback clause or whatever inserted into that, and buy them back. But Dortmund's been very smart about how they develop their talent, whether it be from purchasing one-away players from bigger clubs, or loaning them, acquiring them on loans, or just developing them in the academy. So
Yeah. I just realized I said Victor Osimhen used to play in Lille. We're talking about Bundesliga. I was thinking
is that the club you
Liga.
said? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. But yes, absolutely right. But I was just looking at Guirassy. I'm like, here is something here. But to be fair though, about the highline, both teams were doing it, and Monterrey were like half a body offside of a possible equalizing goal. Then they did break that highlight. I kept saying to Nelson in the game, like the long ball over the top is there. It's there. Yeah. Just play it. It's there.
They Monterrey knew what. I think they came in with an idea of how to play, and they were in the process of implementing it, but they just weren't as clinical as Dortmund was. You can say clinical, or you could just say as lucky, whatever you want to call it. But they both had similar,
swings.
Yeah, similar swings or options or opportunities in each other's attacking third in the beginning 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I think when Dortmund netted, I think it was at the clock of 14th minute.
Yeah. Was it even that? Wasn't it earlier than that?
I think it was 14th. Garassi scored, and then like 24th minute, I think he scored a second goal. And by then, it's like, well, shoot, like now we need to change the way that we're approaching the game. So yeah. I do think it could have been different. I was very happy to see towards the end of the second half, or actually, pretty early on in the second half.
Yeah, they scored 2 minutes in.
Yeah, scored very early on. And then towards the end of the second half, the way they started the game is how they finished the game.
Yeah,
and it was kind of like it's too late. Yeah. I think they brought on subs in the 80th minute.
Yeah,
they brought on 3 subs.
The first subs.
It's too late at that point. So on a different day, it could have been. I was hoping for extra time, obviously, selfishly, but it's a very good game.
Very, very good game. Glad to be there. Glad to see. For us, I think our second game in the tournament, and for me personally, seeing Sergio Ramos, who's brought my club a lot of joy. So seeing him in person was pretty cool, and seeing him play still at a high level was pretty cool. And shout out to Adeyemi for 2 assists as well.
Okay. I'm sure he chopped at Ike's after that.
We took it to Ike's.
But the last thing I wanted to just say is people don't really give a lot of love or attention to Liga MX, Liga MX, if you will. And that's the first time I actually got a good close look at Monterrey. I was not. I was
good
football.
football.
It's good football. Good football.
Honestly,
The moments, maybe not complete razor focused the entirety of the game, like we just mentioned, but good football. They approached the game with belief and passion, and they played well. So
they played very well.
I would put them over the MLS for sure.
100%. No
disrespect. No disrespect at all. Yeah, but all the
Yeah, they played very, very. I mean, Liga MX and South America, the whole Latin America. I think we all knew that they play, they ball there, but like seeing it at this stage, it's like I need to go start watching. I know you keep an eye on the Brazilian
I keep tabs,
league,
but to watch it, I have to watch it.
I have to watch it.
Yeah, just I have, and the Premier League is the worst league when it comes to having a bias or a superiority complex.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, just to see your team play against it, see it live, see how it compares against the teams that you play week to week. That's what this tournament is for.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Anyway, it was a cool experience. I'll put in some of the clips and stuff that we had from the game to on our channel. So please watch out for that.
For sure.
Inter Miami. That's another game that happened here.
Yeah,
they needed to drop against PSG. They should have just dropped the pad, like put the controller down, quit. Put off the game when somebody's about to shoot. You know how them EAFC players.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Beck's got what he wanted here. I mean, that was a very high-profile game.
Yeah.
I think that Inter Miami didn't really, in all honesty, deserve to qualify for this tournament. It was mainly just to get Messi and friends in there.
Yeah.
But and obviously the purse is for just getting that far is great for Inter Miami and any average MLS team. It had to be them.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were played off the pitch. There's levels to this game, and not to sound like I rank European football over everything, but I kind of do, and there's a reason why. There were levels ahead of
everybody.
The PSG did not just they weren't born yesterday. That team is
been
incredible.
Cooking for at least 3 years.
Yeah, and yeah, it's gonna. I mean, they're obviously at this point no city. You guys are on a halfway to playing them.
To play who?
PSG.
Yes, PSG. I mean, they have to play Bayern.
Yes, I think y'all's side of the bracket is a little bit more intense. I just think I still back. I'd say that I'd back them to win it all.
Your PSG, right? Yeah. They just. I mean, the chemistry is OD. Yeah. They are just on a roll. I think, honestly, even I think we've said how we feel about the tournament. It's a great tournament, but in the back of my mind, I feel bad for the players for not having rest. But a minute to breathe. But it kind of benefits PSG because they can just. There's no hangover period. They can just keep going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's showing.
Yeah, I do worry. I was worried about it pre-tournament. I was like, these guys just.
Yeah.
I mean, they're probably on the wines. This is the first time they won the Champions League. It's probably massive for them. They're probably in Qatar or wherever, but they didn't. There was no moment to breathe.
Nope.
Enrique's got them dialed in. Every game that I've seen them play in this tournament.
Oh my god. They lost to Botafogo.
Yeah, they lost to Botafogo on some wildness because it's just because Botafogo didn't look. I mean, they looked okay this tournament. I would say they're one of the weaker Brazilian teams.
Yeah. They have a good goalie, John. Very good.
But honestly, PSG seems like they're in gear 2 or 3, and there is no stalling of the engine.
Yeah.
There's no stalling of the engine.
Yeah, there's not.
I personally believe that Botafogo game, they're just like, we're low on gas right now, so we're not going to max out. We don't really need to.
Did, to be fair, what they did to Inter, they didn't do it Inter Miami. They didn't do it in quite the same fashion, but similar. They did it to Atletico Madrid as well. But you see those two names I just called Inter Miami, Atletico Madrid?
Yeah. levels.
Both levels, right? But in terms of like how they approach both games against PSG, PSG is not the team you play a two-man midfield against. It's just not. For Inter Miami, when one of those two midfielders is Sergio Busquets, please stop embarrassing this man and give him some help. They're doing it. Mascherano did Sergio Busquets. Mascherano is the coach of Inter Miami. He did Sergio Busquets like Amorim is doing Casemiro. Like, you protect this guy. Why are you playing two-man midfield against Vitinha, Jargonch, and Fabian Ruiz?
Yeah.
Like, no, don't do that. That's unfair. When he switched in the second half, they look better.
It's too much for the players on Inter Miami don't have the legs for any of that.
No,
it's literally two teams on two ends of the spectrum.
That's setting up for failure. Like, if I was Sergio Busquets, I'll go to Mascherano like, tell me you don't like me, but just tell me you don't like me. Because why would you do that to me?
Or how about you do it, bro?
You used to play DM.
Yeah.
Go and do what you sent me to do.
Yeah.
Put on your boots now and do what you asked me to do. Exactly. It's like you're not well.
Yeah,
He got dispossessed. One of the goals was Sergio Busquets' fault.
I don't know. He look bad.
Yeah.
When in reality, if you don't know ball, you think it's his fault. He's miles off it. No, he was set up to fail.
He was set up to fail based on what his attributes are at this stage of his career.
Yeah.
Nah, because he played the first game of the season against Porto. I think they tied Porto. No, they beat Porto. They tied I can't remember the name of the team, but those two games, Sergio Busquets was amazing.
Yeah.
But you gotta anyway. I don't want to go too deep.
It's crazy how I think Porto and Atletico Madrid kind of just had really good tournaments. Like they had the tournaments that I was worried about having. My club just coming out flat, tired.
They look flat, tired.
Not disinterested,
non-imaginative.
Not really knowing what to do with this tournament.
But to be fair, Atletico did end up. I mean, I heard Simeone's argument for Atletico, and he said like we finished the same points of the champions of Europe and the champions of Brazil or South America actually, and I'm like, oh, well, technically yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
it's a tough group.
Yeah,
all things considered.
Yeah, but anyway,
and he's the best. He's the spin master, bro.
All of them are, but yes, he is.
Dude, no, it's like it's a cult of personality that I've never seen. Like, I'll watch Atletico Madrid go through something that, for me, would probably there's no coming back from that mentally. And they cameras on him, and he's not only is he bigging up the players, and they're delusionally like, you know what? Yeah, that's not traumatic at all. He just skied it. We're gonna lose. We're going to lose everything we worked. No problem. He's a mentality monster. So, no worries there.
No worries there. But to the other around the 16 games, the Battle of Brazil, Palmeiras and Botafogo. I spoke about Palmeiras last episode, and your boy Esteval. Esteval didn't have a great game, but this guy came off the bench again, Paulinho. He came off the bench, he scored, and he was subbed. Like, thank you very much.
Yeah.
But that game was two teams. They're kind of like their styles were clashing, so it was tight.
It wasn't youth. People were thinking it would be because the way the Brazilian teams have been playing. I mean, and especially the way that Palmeiras has been playing, people thought it would be a pretty open or very fun game to watch.
Yeah.
One to definitely watch, but you could tell that it was like an unstoppable. They're not by no means are they both the best teams in the tournament, but it was an unstoppable force meets an immovable object.
Yeah.
Or as I referred to when Man U played Spurs in Europa League, a stoppable force versus a movable object.
Both have the same.
Yes. So
both same energy.
It was hard to watch. It was a clash.
Yeah.
But somebody, had to go.
Yeah.
I'm worried about, based off of how Palmeiras had played throughout the tournament.
I know what you're gonna say.
I'm worried about
the
matchup that Chelsea has in 2 days. Yeah, 2 days now.
Yeah.
Against Palmeiras. without Moises Caicedo.
That's
You want
that's
to talk
that's
about
the thing right there.
midfielders with an impact. It's going to be a tough match. We don't have a pound for pound, like for like replacement for him. We'll get into it in a little bit.
Forget pound for pound. You don't have. Moses Caicedo is one of the best in the world.
One of one right
it's
now.
Just not like you don't even need to add pound for pound.
Yeah.
You don't have.
Well, I won't say one of one, but there's like an elite group of people who can do what he can do.
How many?
It's a short list.
It's a very short list.
Very short list.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a, and I watched that quote unquote foul that he got the yellow card for. I mean, he makes some aggressive challenges. I won't lie, but a lot of the time he gets cards because the ref's like, nah, you had to have fouled him. There's no way you got that ball. The ball, you'll see the ball go clean, and they'll be like, nah, no way, you had to have chopped him. And they'll play the replay, and he gets the ball, and the guy goes down because, I mean, he's that dude. But anyway,
but yeah, Palmeiras, you're worried. I mean, I think that the Palmeiras game against Botafogo was a little. It wasn't as explosive because like of what we just said, it was two styles clashing, and for the most part, Botafogo were soaking in pressure and trying to play off the counter. But I imagine Palmeiras Chelsea will be more open and more fun for the average viewers. But we'll get to Chelsea in a minute. On the same day, Hilal and Fluminense, they shocked Inter and City.
I'm very glad I didn't bet on that. That's the type of slate that you say, and you go, "Oh, this is easy money. Let me just go ahead and matter of fact, let me take both of them." And you lick your fingers, and then you check it after work, and you're like, "Wow, that was a donation."
Yeah, donation. Yeah.
So, but no, very big, results that makes that side of the,
bracket.
The bracket look even more. Crazy.
Weird.
Bizarre.
It's just weird. That I mean, the Fluminense. I'm trying to say these people's names.
Yeah, I mean, right? We don't have the Portugal mouse.
Yeah, I'll find it. The Fluminense game versus Inter. I watched the highlights. I didn't watch the game, but that Al Hilal City, I watched that game from the beginning to the end, and I was like, wow. First of all, people that were talking smack about when Al Hilal tied with Madrid, first game of the season, first game for Xabi Alonso, and they're like, oh, Madrid looks a little shaky. I'm like, yes, we do look a little shaky, but those guys look good. They look conditioned for the weather. They look really, really good. You see them now? You see?
Yeah, think about Al Hilal. Those players are only maybe 3 years past their prime.
Yeah. Koulibaly was.
Yeah, I mean, Koulibaly, he's about 4 years from playing at any club. Or any club being able to having.
I mean, he's 33 though. 32, 33. I don't think so. I think
so. 3.
I think he can play right now.
Right now, okay. So he's a bad example because there are players that they have that left during the prime and are technically still within their prime years for money. But
yeah, Cancelo maybe.
Yeah, but there's some that are just slightly like I was trying to say. There's some that are just slightly past their prime, but if on their night, you got to give it to them. There's quality there. I mean, class is permanent. We say it all the time.
Yeah.
And those players all have been assembled there because they have some level of class.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, I feel like that win, Simone Inzaghi needed that win.
I was about to say that.
After how he left Europe.
Yeah, how he left Europe. Like he left sad. He went out sad. Both like my like image in my mind is him as a loser
in a final.
Yeah, he's just absorbed a lot of the loss. Someone said like we should be kinder to him because he stopped Barcelona. Did he not? From
winning the quadruple.
Yeah, winning the quadruple, which would have just been bad. Like it's just bad for business.
So in that case, thank you.
Yeah.
Simone Inzaghi, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Exactly.
If you have a GoFundMe, please send it our way. I will fund it to you because I want to be able to take that. I'm not gonna lie. But it was a good game.
Yeah, he definitely. I mean, it was that game was tough. Or the things I learned from that game is Al Hilal is not to be taken lightly. And also City with Rodri back and sort of figuring out how to implement both Shirky and Foden and get the best out of both of them. Something we mentioned while we were watching the game. Iron sharpens iron. I think both of those guys are going to raise each other's levels in a good, constructive way. If Pep doesn't suck the life out of the swag and steez from both.
Well, he has done it to Foden, right?
Yeah.
Of Shirky, that's what I was saying when we confirmed it here on one of the episodes prior.
Yeah.
But they did both combine for a beautiful goal.
Right.
It was a KDB-esque assist from Shirky. Lovely depth finish from Foden. Yeah.
I don't think either of them alone can replace KDB, but together no problem. That's something they can definitely do. And I'm not saying I'm curious or interested to see him. I fear what City can do with a good replacement for those skills.
For those skills.
They've purchased quite a few players in the past 6 months. I think that's being
done.
Quite
a few.
Yeah.
It's
being done in a participatory or it's being done to try and my club got in trouble I think 4 years ago. It's more than 4 years. Yeah. Sheesh, I'm getting
2019.
2019. And before we got that transfer ban, we sold Hazard and we signed Pulisic the window right before. I think what they're doing right now is front loading their club with talent.
Yeah.
In the hopes that they, if anything does happen, they're insulated and have everything they need to weather the storm if they can't sign it. Or if they lose a lot of players because they get a point deduction or go down.
Go down. Speaking of, they signed quite a few players. They spent 347 million.
That's absurd.
347 million in 2025. 2025. We just start. Yeah, we just got in June. July. Excuse me. We're in July.
Just got half.
July. What's today? The 2nd.
Yeah, we're like 51% through the year.
Of the year.
52 or something.
And they've spent. Well, Pep has spent 347 million. That's a lot of money on Mamouche, Nico Gonzalez, Tijani Ryan Shirky, Kusanov, Victor Reyes, Ainuri, Joe Maba. They are buying their way out of the hole. But I don't want us to disrespect this man because we've spoken about this Man City and Al Hilal game, and we haven't mentioned his name once. Bono.
Oh man, I mean,
Bono.
It's funny. Like the first good save. I mean, I knew he was back there anyway.
Yeah.
But the first good save, I was like, dude, he's like, this guy's nuts. He's nuts. I said it during the World Cup. I was like, drug test this man immediately. And he still has that in his locker. Yeah. That's the type of performance, type of goalie. I'm sure Pep just hates to see somebody who's on form, on their game.
That save against Savio or Gundogan, like he's just on the floor, just tossed the hand out. Yeah, it was like he removed the mannequin hand and did like this.
I mean, it's just
it's crazy.
Just an insane performance.
Crazy. He may or may not be Player of the Week. I don't know.
Yeah,
stay tuned to find out.
Yeah, it's fair. It's definitely fair. I think there's a Team of the Week that we can maybe. Use.
yeah, because some people.
Yeah,
some people bought out.
Yeah, but you're absolutely right.
Yeah, really quick. I wanted to touch on this. I know we spoke about Fluminense and Inter, but did you see Lautaro's comments after the game?
I did.
Did you hear who he was talking about?
I didn't see a follow up.
Chananolu.
I saw like I saw that.
Chananolu. Yeah.
I saw that he is looking to leave as a result of and I think he's just had a bad club or World Cup after really being the puppeteer, the string puller the entire time.
With Barella,
Barella of course as well. So with their drop off, I mean, let me think. Their midfield in the final was Mkhitaryan,
Barella,
and
Chanalulu,
Chahalungu. Of those three, Barella is obviously the.
yeah.
I mean, you can sell him and get the most money, but the other two, you would, those are you put them out to pasture, as we say in the States. You would retire them. There's no return value on them. They're old, and it's time for them to reinvent that midfield for sure. They kind of limped into this tournament after losing a treble. They had a treble in their hands, and they went 0 for 3.
When did Liverpool do that same thing?
No, they were like 1 of 4 hungry for more.
Oh, wait, 1 of 4, yeah.
And I mean,
how do you remember that phrase?
An elephant never forgets. And I'll never forget that post. And furthermore, that one trophy that they won was against my club. So,
Carabao Cup, yeah.
Yeah, and that's why I remember, because they should not. That was when Klopp,
remember that
Klopp did it against kids, bitch. Pardon my French. We have a younger team. You just subbed on a couple of late fast legs, and now you're saying
that game. Lukaku scored a legit goal that they cancelled. Remember?
Yeah, I do remember it. I'll never forget.
Of course. Why did I say remember? Like, of course you do.
Because that was a moment. I watched that game. Because that was Liverpool was not good that game at all. We could have won that and really, really changed the narrative. That was the season. Yeah, it was the season before Klopp's last season. It's only 2 years ago. That game we should have won. And then obviously we had to play City in the FA Cup semifinal, and we should have won that game as well. But Nico was just like,
oh yes.
Yeah. But neither here nor there.
Yeah, let's not even go down that rabbit hole. I also wanted to touch briefly. IQ deep dive would be. Wait, I'm going there.
Well, I forgot to say what I wanted to say about Lautaro.
Okay, go ahead.
I think there's a little bit of. Yes, the helmets. He said what he needed to say because he was the captain.
Yes,
you need to say that, but you can also kind of spineless not to really identify somebody.
I saw
something about that as well. But the thing is, do you think he should have been like? Because one school of thought is the person who he's talking about knows who he's talking about. Like it's probably bubbled up to the
dressing room.
In the dressing room. Is it tacky to do that in public? Is it spineless not to name somebody because now the entire locker room thinks they're talking about why is he saying F me for as 50 Cent once said, but like it's just like
what you say me for?
But it's just like who are you talking? But at the same time it can get messy.
I see both schools of thought there. If he addressed the person he was talking to before or after that interview, where there's no confusion at all in the locker room who he's talking about, and he still then does that, I think it's less of a tacky situation because it's possible that we don't know. It's possible that he aired him out already in the locker room before he came out to speak, and maybe out of those fumes he did that.
Yeah,
I don't know. I understand the tackiness of it, and like some people are saying like maybe it's locker room stuff, keeping the locker room and stuff like that. But they say hit dogs holler, right?
Yeah.
If he's not talking about me, or if he's not talking about me, and I know that I'm putting in 100%, and my captain is saying whoever doesn't want to stay with us can leave. Like with us, who's with us? I don't think it's as damning as it is.
Yeah,
as it seems.
I think you're absolutely right. I think he has to say something.
Yeah,
like they are all thinking like I mentioned earlier in this episode the mentality monster that Diego Simeone is.
Yeah,
I don't get that vibe from Inter Milan.
Christian Kivu?
No. They just lost Inzaghi.
You get the vibe from him.
Yeah.
He would throw his jacket on the field to make a point.
But this new guy, Christian Kivu, who I remember when he was a player,
yeah,
he used to wear a helmet.
He was in Mourinho's trouble winning season.
So he's just growing into the job. Yeah. So if anybody's got to say it, it's Lauti, and I think knowing the ultra culture there, and the fans in general, just the passion around Inter, you gotta take accountability in some way, shape, or form. Yeah. So I credit to them, and credit to him rather, on the heels of. I'm sure he doesn't want to talk to anybody. So
after losing to Fluminense, that they should beat.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
twice. When it matters, when it matters in the past 3 months, they've lost every game.
Listen, even the first game of this tournament, they tied to Monterrey.
Yeah. Wow.
They tied to Monterrey. They scored like a last-minute goal against River Plate.
Wow.
Last minute, like it was in last minute that Bastoni and I can't remember who else finished off the game. Like, so they didn't really outclass their way to this level. So I think, again, when I think of all these things, how they ended the season and how they played in this tournament, I mean, I'm not mad at Lautaro's comments. I ain't gonna hold you.
Yeah, I'm not shocked either.
I'm not.
They're lucky to have gotten. I'm not lucky to have gotten as far as they did because they do have quality. I don't want to disrespect them, but at the same time, they are lucky to have gotten as far as they got with the form and the mentality that they brought into the tournament.
Yeah. Really quick, we'll go into the Madrid Juve game, but the one thing I wanted to touch on was no Rodrigo. All this while I thought he was injured or not an injury, but it was a tactical decision. That makes me nervous. That means he might be going.
I think
he might be. He's giving me the Ozil vibe that left. He's giving me the Di Maria vibe. All these top players that can't fit in the team. The who else? Schneider vibe. All these great players that we had, but had to let go of.
Yeah, any healthy scratch is usually typically a curtains for a player, and a player of his quality, no less.
Yeah.
I was looking online earlier, and I think a lot of the optimistic people were like, "Oh, well, maybe he's just trying to figure it out with him before the season starts." No, I think it's like I just said, a player of that quality caliber. There's a conversation that's happening between him and the board, and
for sure, and his agent,
and
his agent, for sure, because Kylian Mbappe was just fit 2 minutes before the game, and he got minutes. That's damning.
Yeah,
but we'll get into the game more later. But lastly, we wanted to talk about Chelsea Benfica, the 4-hour night.
What a game!
4-hour game.
Yeah, what a game!
I'll let you go crazy on this one. What you got?
What a farce of a game! Glad, and what an exhilarating experience. Felt like I know these games are knockout football. It's one game, but it felt like two legs. Like between with that break in the action that happened.
It did feel like 2 legs.
Like the way that we took the first leg, or the way that we took the first half of the game and approached it, was completely opposite to how we finished the game.
Yeah.
Chelsea Benfica is a very kind of interesting matchup in the sense that
Why is that?
we've taken quite a few of their players in their peak. The list is long.
Enzo,
I think Miralles. Not from them. We took Miralles from Liverpool. He stopped there first. Ramirez is another goat. So there's definitely their fan base definitely has feelings about us, and
the board too, right?
The board as well. There's comments that Rui Costa and the Chelsea board of directors. It almost got to fists on deadline day. And the thing about it is I understand the hatred because when you take a player like Enzo Fernandez from that team, they were in the Champions League. Mm-hmm. I won't go on this too long, I know. They're in the Champions League. There's a deadline day transfer, which means they cannot replace him in that window. Mm-hmm. And then we paid them in installments. So instead of them getting 120 or 100 whatever,
they got like 20.
They got about 40 M's to try and replace him. So that was, and this is after he said he was going to stay, and they, they offered him the same amount as we did, all that stuff. So a lot of I was backing Enzo in this game. Kind of had a quiet game, to be honest. It was a huge Caicedo game.
Moises Caicedo,
immense player for us and just in general. I'm glad he's getting a little more attention. I mean, obviously, anybody who knows ball and has been watching and seeing the quality, but I'd say on a worldwide level, people are now noticing and recognizing what he does for us. My biggest concern is he picked up a needless yellow. I think it was in the first half. In my eyes, every tackle is a clean tackle with Moises, or at least 8 out of 10. And unfortunately, he picked up a yellow that is going to have him miss the next game against Palmeiras, which I mentioned is a big loss. What else did I notice?
I know you're mentioning like how Esteval will fit in this team going forward, especially with the different forms that styles or formations that Chelsea play.
Yeah, I mean, right now we are a team with quite a few players on our roster, but I think after we trim some of the players that we still currently have, whether that be
Raheem Sterling,
of course, first and foremost,
Nkunku,
Madueke. I'd say Madueke and Esteval, and Madueke and Nkunku do. Esteval can do what both of those players do, and do it better, and for a longer period of time. We just need to get rid of them. Both of them had, or Madueke did not even play. 2 days ago. Nkunku had a decent game when he came off the bench
and scored.
But that was in the second leg of the game.
Second leg of the one-legged game.
Of the one-legged game. Moises finished the game with the most touches. That's part and parcel and kind of par for the course for him. But yeah, it just highlights what he was doing the entire game and does for us as a club. So
yeah, he's a top player, man. He's a very, very good player. It'll be a big loss against Palmeiras.
I will say again, also, I think the loss after us losing to I'm worried about Palmeiras, but seeing how Flamengo went down, kind of made me think, okay, and then seeing how Flamengo went down and then also seeing the Palmeiras and Botafogo game, it kind of made me question the Brazilian superiority narrative that was going in out of the group stage after us getting roughed up by them. And but losing to Flamengo was a blessing, obviously, because that put us on a collision course with Benfica as opposed to I think would have been Bayern, I think.
Wait, Bayern.
Yeah, it would have been Bayern. That game would have been in Atlanta, though. So that would have been a really cool game to go to. Yeah. But instead, we finished second in the group. We got Benfica, and we're on it's a dream of a bracket to try and get through. No, all respect to Flamengo and Al Hilal, but. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what else.
I mean, so I will say this before you go. Flamengo beat themselves against Bayern. They gave up that game. Like the silly mistakes that they cost them. But I'm looking forward to that. Obviously, I'm looking forward to every single quarterfinal game. But I'm looking forward to that game because I feel like it's going to be exciting. I think. I have things to worry about with Dortmund and who wins between PSG and Bayern. But on the other bracket, I can just watch and enjoy. And that game, I'm actually looking forward to.
Well. Yeah, I mean, that game was to just get into a little bit of like the drama of it. It was a 4-hour game.
4-hour game. You want to tell them why?
Yeah, there were lightning strikes in the area. And they decided everybody who's played soccer in the United States, and I called it soccer for that reason, is very familiar with FIFA lightning strike rule. Whereas if there's any lightning seen in the area, they got to delay the game for 30 minutes, and every subsequent strike is another 30-minute delay.
Yep.
All in all, the game was supposed to end. I'd say it started at 3 our time. It should have been over probably around 5 max.
With extra time, maybe 6.
Yeah, not even. I remember leaving the pub at around that time because I was like, I'm gonna just watch the rest of this at home. That game didn't start until it was like a 2-hour delay, which is dangerous for the players.
To play 5 minutes or something?
To finish up a 5-minute match, or the last 5 minutes of the game. We came back on the pitch after 2 hours, and I already told you that that ref gave Caicedo a needless, silly yellow, but after the restart, we conceded a penalty in the last 5 minutes of the game. Gusto allegedly put out his arm, and they gave a penalty was awarded, and that completely changed the everything that was on the docket for the night. At that point, I cleared my schedule for the next hour and a half. I said, "It's gonna be one of them nights." But once we came into extra time, made a couple of really key substitutions, Nkunku being one of them, Dewsbury Hall being another. Really were able to overturn the game, overturn the tie, and come out with a resounding 4-1 at the end of all the proceedings. So.
It reminded me of Real Madrid's La Decima against Atletico, excuse me, and we won 4-1 after extra time. So you see a score 4-1, it was like, ooh, it was like 1-1 for the longest, or 1-0 for the longest.
Yep, the breakthrough happened,
and bang, bang, bang.
So it's going to be an interesting. I was really happy to see the way that we responded to what was a disaster situation brewing.
It was a good game, and looking forward to what you guys do. Really quick, I just wanted to breeze through the transfer stuff. First of all, Ronaldo's contract is insane.
There's a renewal.
Oh yeah, he's been announced and everything. Yeah. They gave him half of Saudi Arabia, the King's Crown.
Jesus.
I'm just making up stuff. I'm exaggerating, but yeah, he's getting like over a double digits amount of staff, like personal staff from the club.
Jeez.
Private jet use.
I mean, he's the face of that until Salah comes, which is what my belief is. He's the face of that league.
I think whether Salah comes or not, he's
still the face. He's the one who started the.
Yeah, but he's Ronaldo though. Like he would be the face. I think Salah would obviously be up there.
Once that's their plan. I think once Ronaldo inevitably Father Time catches up.
Yeah.
Salah's such a natural fit for.
Very natural fit.
For the league. So.
But Ronaldo's. Let me hold $1 real quick.
Serious peas.
Yeah. Konate, Liverpool being a little tough on business with him.
Yeah, he's on like 70.
Yeah, something like that. But I think like Elliott or Curtis Jones, players like that earn more than him, so he's looking for like 200 or something like that. So they're working on that. If not, he doesn't sign and he'll be on a free. And who'll be picking up free talents?
Yeah.
We
gotta be
the merengues.
Yeah, we gotta be.
We are watching like what's going on?
I don't think they'll let it happen again.
Right?
Full transparency.
If they do it twice,
they don't let that. Like clubs don't let that type of stuff. They learn, but I think either way, I heard rumors that they're closing in on Mark Gay.
Yeah,
and I think that would be an important it's an upgrade from Kwanzaa to Gay. So.
Yeah, but Konate, well, I'm watching. Gittins to Chelsea back on. I think it was off for a while, or it was quiet for a while.
My ear to the ground told me that it was going to happen. It was just going to happen at a price that we weren't happy about. Yeah. I think we came in before the Club World Cup at like 45 around that amount. They wanted us to pay more. and Dortmund kind of price is the price.
The price is the price.
So
yeah. Anyway, we're talking about Dortmund and how they're selling and stuff. So this is another example of that.
Yep, it's a Manchester City product who they're very keen on taking, producing, and making money on. So
the one that caught me by surprise and is funny is John Duran trying to come back to Europe via Fenerbahce. Interesting. I don't know how. Well, I don't know what's going on financially with Turkish teams. I don't know if how they can pull that because I saw that Jose is also talking to Marco Asensio to come to Turkey as well. So it's building a nice team there. Arsenal are interested in Eze and Madueke. Madueke, why am I saying Madueke? Eze and Madueke. Arsenal wants both of them to join their Nigerian brother Saka on the right. And who else is Nigerian on that team? Nwaneri.
There's not that many.
Nwaneri is another Nigerian. They have some youngsters that are Nigerian as well. So that'll be a fun team if Eze and Madueke go there.
If they got both of them, that would be big. Arsenal's usually, they need to. They're avoiding the biggest thing on their docket, which is to find a striker.
Honestly, at this point, I don't even know what.
So it's like I don't know what they're doing. They're kind of being silly.
I don't know what they're doing.
But those are two quality players who really, us selling Madueke. I think we're in line to double our money on him if we do sell him for what we're talking. But it does make a rival better.
Yeah.
I think
direct rival.
Yeah. I don't think they need backup for Martinelli. They need backup for Saka. They've just dusted him. So
Saka, I feel bad for him. Get that boy some help, please.
Martinelli's on the left, right?
Martinelli's on the left, yeah.
Yeah, and so
Eze can play on the left.
Yeah, I think Madueke is better on the right.
Yes.
So I think he would just be cover to Saka.
Yeah, cover to Saka or can start on the left.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, if you watch the first game, group stage, LAFC, he's not a left winger. So, and even Neto can play both sides, but obviously stronger on one. But either way, both big good signings, but they need a striker.
Yeah, we'll see what they do. I saw Mohamed Kudus might be going to Spurs. I'm like, that is a very Spursy player. Yeah. Like when I say that, I mean that in a good way. Like in terms of like flair and creative and imaginative. So I think that'll be a good fit for them.
We're also very interested in Kudus as well. I don't know if you saw that.
No, I did not.
No, we are. So
he's a player. I like Kudus a lot.
Yeah. I think yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. There's a lot of phone calls being made. I think the fact that we're in the Club World, there's clubs that are focused on the Club World Cup who are literally making the money that they're spending.
While
it's kind of
paycheck to paycheck.
Trippy to see us qualify for the quarterfinals and then sign João Pedro with the P's that we just
made.
They're pending in the account. So,
it hasn't cleared yet, and you spent it.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's like, "Oh, how's Chelsea going to get rid of? They haven't even sold any of these players." Relax. We move players like
you guys are
Frank
masters.
Lucas moved Blue Magic in New York. Like, don't. The product sells itself, dude.
Yeah,
it's a brand. It's a brand name,
like Pepsi.
Yeah,
I guarantee it.
Yeah, I guarantee it. Is carbon? Yeah. So anyway.
Yeah, but João Pedro. Excuse me, I keep saying João. João Pedro is the fifth Brighton guy.
Yeah.
Your goalie Sanchez.
Yeah. We got a few, and then we got a couple of the front board as well that we purchased from them. I think we still have their board of their football director. That's why they're such a. The reason why you're seeing so many players from City and Brighton come in is because Paul Winstanley and Joe Shields. Joe Shields came from Manchester City's youth academy.
In the weeds of his clothes. In the weeds. Don't try.
No, just I know my stuff, man. Joe Shields came from Manchester City. He's the reason why we got Cole Palmer. He was just like, trust me. And we were like, right. Cole Palmer is the reason why we were able to get Romeo Lavia. And then when it comes to the Brighton signings, Cucurella was one of the first ones that when Stanley earmarked. Yeah. And then with Caicedo, he was a huge factor in being able to call Moises and really work on that deal so that we were able to get it over the line over teams that were technically in a better position. Yeah. So, again, João Pedro, I think, is he's a hothead from what I saw. I looked at some of the footage. He definitely he's a hothead, but he's definitely a good player who fits the culture of the team. I mean, we got a lot of South Americans.
Mandem FC.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, we're the Mandem FC, and we got there's a South American contingent that's about to join the team next year or this upcoming season. I'm really excited to see how it all gels.
Good stuff. I'm surprised that he's already in with the team.
Yeah.
Does that mean he's eligible to play?
He's eligible to play, but we won't do that. Yeah, that's just a little bit too much. Okay. Yeah, I mean, if this was FIFA or Football Manager, I would have sold Nico Jackson last week, and I would have brought João Pedro in, and then he would be on the bench this weekend.
You sell Nico Jackson and give him Pedro
the same number.
So you know it's
real. Fans would just need they'd be like, wait a minute, that's how fast it would happen. So, but either way, good to get around the team, get some exposure. We mentioned on previous episodes how important it is to get a preseason.
Yeah,
this Club World Cup is kind of wonky in the sense that the players that we're signing right now aren't going to get really a preseason because once this Club World Cup is over, we're going to go on break for 3 weeks. So
like 3 hours.
Yeah, I think we're going on break for some time.
Okay,
not 3 weeks, but a while, and then we're having a small preseason around Europe with like random teams. So,
yeah, cool. We'll take a break now, then go to the IQ deep dive and finish the show.
Wrap that up.
Yes, and we're back. Welcome back to the show. Thank you for staying tuned. Please like, comment, subscribe. I don't say that enough.
Yeah, tell your friends.
Like, comment, share, subscribe.
Hit the bell.
All the stuff. Everything. Just hit something.
Mm-hmm.
But right now we're in the IQ deep dive segment, and we'll be covering the Real Madrid versus Juve game. Real Madrid won the game 1-0, thanks to the guy I told you all about last week, Gonzalo Garcia, aka Raul Gonzalez Garcia. Top goal, is very good in the air. That's how he scored his debut goal against. It was Leganes. I was trying to remember last time. We scored against last minute win in the Copa del Rey. But the game was. Did you watch the game?
I got an MRI during that game.
Oh yeah, yeah, you did get an MRI. The game was tactically very interesting. I think they both had similar shape with Real Madrid playing 3 in the back. It was Dean Harrison that was very, very good. Tchouaméni in the middle and Rudiger right center back. Trent as the right mid, right back. Frank Garcia left mid, left back. It was Valverde and Arda in the middle. Jude is the 10 and Vinny and Gonzalo up top. And from a Real Madrid's perspective, they were decent on the ball in this formation, but in transition they were weaker in this formation because for Juve their base was Thuram and Locatelli, and when they broke, because of our two-man midfield of Fede and Arda, none of them were really holding because they're both trying to find spaces to build triangles on each side or be available for passing and for specifically Fede chances to shoot. But the problem in the first half was when we lost the ball in transition and they played the long ball to Kolo Muani. Him and what's the Turkish guy's name again?
Guler?
No, not the touch. Yildiz.
Juventus.
The Yildiz on the left and Conceição on the right. Once either of them got the ball here, Yildiz had a great game as well. And the other one was like running towards our defense. There was no protection there, so they could work the ball wide if Yildiz comes in the middle and finds somebody wide. It was causing us problems. And Trameni in the center, like center of the center back, was good when we had the ball, but dangerous when we didn't off the transition. And Kolomwani should have scored. He was 1-on-1 and he tried to scoop Courtois and overcooked it. So in the first half of the first half, Juve were on us. But two things that Xabi Alonso did that really, really impressed me and give me like more belief in him was, number one, he switched Tchouaméni and Rudiger, because Tchouaméni is not as good as he is. He's not a center back, so he doesn't have those instincts. He was safer on here and Rudiger in the middle. That way he could follow Yildiz wherever he was going and become a DM. But another thing that he did was, when we did have the ball and we were all like up top, he gave Tchouaméni the freedom to like go and join the midfield and create a diamond here. And what this did was gave us an advantage when we had the ball, because obviously there's just one more man, so we're creating an overload in this midfield. Jude operating around the inner right this time, so we're creating an overload in this midfield. And when we lost the ball, we can win it faster because he stepped forward and Yildiz has to follow him there. So it gives us less. It gives Juve less options when they're trying to counterattack. So that little change right there just nullified Juve for the rest of the game. So I credit to Xabi Alonso for making that tactical move. Fede Valverde was everywhere. See, the people that are going to eat in this new Xabi system, Fede Valverde, he's been given license to bomb forward, and he was trying to rip the net off. He was trying shot after shot after shot. But the person that hasn't been really spoken about, that is really, really quietly benefiting from this new regime, is Fran Garcia. Fran Garcia is very good going forward. He has a great cross on him, very, very fast. Not the greatest 1v1 defender or off the ball defender. So this position, he's using him as like what's Leverkusen's left wing back, the guy that has techie that can play free kicks and stuff. This Spanish guy. I'm looking at him. Number 20. But he's playing he's using him in that kind of light where he's more like a left midfielder than a left wing back. And he's had 4 great games. I mean, Mendy's going to struggle to get his shirt back from this guy. He has had 4 great games, and it's good to see. But again, De Gregorio, how do you say his name?
Yeah, De Gregorio.
De Gregorio was fantastic. I think because obviously Juve was playing deeper in a low block after we made that switch with Tchouaméni stepping up from the inner right into the middle when we had the ball. We obviously controlled the game, and Jude stayed on the right, Fede stayed on the left, and Arda was here working with Trent. And because of the low block, Real Madrid had so many shots from out wide because they couldn't penetrate. So many shots. And like the saves that he was making, there was one that he made off of Fede from like the inner left, but there's another one where Tchouaméni stepped up and was a low shot from the inner right as well. And obviously he had a great save from Jude when Fede found himself on the right wing and played Jude in, and it was close range and he should have scored. But De Gregorio was very, very good. But it was good to see Real Madrid because Fede can shoot, Jude can shoot, Tchouaméni can shoot. Why not shoot, right? But it was a great game tactically for us, and I was very, very impressed with Xabi Alonso. With the little tactical changes he was doing. Vinny had a very decent game. His passing range when he dropped in here, and sometimes he'll switch it to Arda or Trent on this right wing from the left, and you just pop up here. You just looked really, really good. The thing that I'm looking for, and Gonzalo again, jeez, what a header. The thing that I'm looking forward to see now is how Mbappe comes in for Gonzalo, how he plays, and how he fits into the system, and how that affects Vinny's game, because Mbappe is a big personality too. So Vinny can't just always do what he wants. He has to share the ball, and just the decision making there will be interesting to see. And like I said, no Rodrigo in this format. I don't know how he fits Rodrigo in. I don't know whether he plays. He plays maybe Jude as in the Arda role, and instead of Arda, play Rodrigo closer to as a 10 on the inner right. You could do that, but just shocking to see Rodrigo not get a lot of minutes in this tournament thus far. But it was a good game. And lastly, I just wanted to end by saying, yes, Real Madrid fans, this is specifically for you. I'm a Real Madrid fan, die hard, right? I am very, very happy with the start that Xabi Alonso has given us. But please, it doesn't give you the right to discredit what Carlo did for us. I've seen it too many times, and it's kind of pissing me off. Like, I don't like the culture now. Like, oh, because this guy's such a breath of fresh air, and these players are flourishing under him, doesn't mean Carlo, who won us the last two Champions Leagues, 3 in total, and the last 2 leagues that we have, and Copa del Rey, and he won everything in 4 years. Like, it doesn't just negate him as a manager or anything. So please, just cut it out, please. Thank you. That's all I have to say about that.
That's fair.
That's all I have to say about that, because I don't like this new. I don't like flimsy fandom. Like,
that's what happens. I mean, the same thing happened when Klopp left and Slot was slotted in, and people just revise their. I mean, yeah, such a breath of fresh air, but you can't. And they were able to win the Prem one year, but don't forget who built that infrastructure.
Like, for me, sorry to cut you. For me, like, when we won La Decima with Carlo, and Zidane was the assistant manager, I always give credit to Mourinho, because he was the one who laid those building blocks for.
Yeah, even though it's not the same pedigree of manager, but Pochettino last year was able to, when he came, it was Grandpa's mess. He was able to get the best out of Cole Palmer. He was able to tell Cucurella to start inverting and doing what he's doing now, which led him to be who he's at, where he's at now. There's a couple of things that laid the foundation, and then also, obviously, he's built a spirit within the team. Just kind of, which is what he's known for doing. So yeah, you can't just, because somebody new comes in, just forget.
Because
especially when it's Carlo Ancelotti.
Carlo Ancelotti. I see the whole. Not the whole, but I see a lot of people do it, even with Cristiano's career. Like, people think he's just a tap. Like, I'm like, when did you guys start watching football? Do you remember 08, 09, up until 2014, up until his knee injury?
Yeah.
Like I just don't like when fans do that. I think sometimes that you let it go. You just see, that's the.
No, you ask a young fan today, they'll tell you Hazard was never anything.
Yeah, exactly.
They weren't there for that. Yeah. They just forget.
Anyway, well, that was the IQ deep dive. It was a good game. Looking forward to our game against Dortmund. Sad for Job. We're at the Monterrey game for him getting another yellow, so he's not going to play against his brother. Mm-hmm. But should be a good game, and looking forward to watching the game. IQ Player of the Week. Bono has to win it, right?
Bono was great. He was immense, absolutely immense. And like we said earlier, that's somebody who, we're not even surprised anymore when it comes to world-class performances. But he was immense, and it was a goal difference in the game. he had at least 2 or 3 saves. So he was the difference.
And more than 2 or 3 saves.
Yeah.
He had some, about 2 or 3 like jaw dropping saves.
Yeah. I'd say like 2, like call it 4 probably. Like no. Sanchez ain't saving that. I'll tell you that. So
no, neither is Kepa.
Yeah, no biscuit hands. Absolutely not.
Oh man, yeah, he was phenomenal. So Bruno, congratulations, you win our IQ Player of the Week, IQ Goal of the Week. Reece James.
Reece James.
Reece James caught the Benfica keeper slipping,
napping. It's a near post, insane angle. Just the way that he approached the ball, I knew there was a chance because that's what he has in his locker. But to punish the goalie at the near post like that, at the moment in which he scored, has to be it's a goal of the week for me.
Yeah, it was a very, very good goal. It reminded me of, I mean, obviously you've seen goals like that quite often over the years, but the first goal, weirdly enough, that came to my mind when I saw the goal watching the game. Because I didn't watch the game, I watched towards the end, and then I watched the 2 hours, the second leg of the game. But the goal that came to my mind was Fabio Aurelio. Do you remember him? He was a left back for Liverpool. Yeah, and he scored a goal like that. I believe against Chelsea or Arsenal, but for some reason he just popped in my head. Yeah, it was a great goal, great technique. I mean, Trent is my player now, but I remember when Real Madrid was really, really pressing on Reece, and I really wanted him.
Well, now I love that things went the way that they went because Reece, in my opinion, is the best. Right when on his day, all around, he's the best right back for England when he's healthy and in his on form and on his day. He's just well rounded. He doesn't have the defensive frailties that you'll see with the Trent. I'm looking forward to knock wood first and foremost because health is the main thing when it comes to him. Looking forward to having him sort of have his own unquestioned reign in England as like the preeminent right back.
Yeah, me too. I like him as a player. I'm glad to see him fit. Knock on wood, continues to be fit because he's obviously a talent. He looks like a good captain for Chelsea too. So, congrats to you for winning IQ Finish of the Week.
Yes, sir.
Obviously, upcoming fixtures is the quarterfinals. Chelsea, Palmeiras, we spoke about. Hilal, Fluminense. That would be a sleeper. I think that would be a good. Yeah. Nobody would pay attention to, but I think that would be a good. Yeah. Then on the bracket of death, PSG, just Bayern playing here, and my Real Madrid playing Dortmund. So again, I mentioned Chelsea, Palmeiras is apart from my game. Obviously, Bayern Munich PSG is the obvious game that jumps out of paper, which also jumps out at us as tactical guys. But I'm also interested in like that Chelsea Palmeiras game. I think that game would be.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
I think it will be the more entertaining game. I don't know.
Of the two on that side.
Of four.
All of them. Okay.
I mean, the PSG and Bayern. I think they will try and nullify each other.
Yeah, it'll be cagey.
I think because of the way Palmeiras and Chelsea play, I think that game will just makes a good match for a good watch.
Both teams to score probably in that game if you're a betting person, but I think in general, like Tolu just said, it's going to be a great watch. I think Palmeiras does not. They don't. They go gun. I don't want to say guns blazing, but they are very. They go and they're very aggressive. Chelsea, we are possession. We've been playing possession heavy football. We do like to. I mean, we do create several chances. I think we lead the tournament in chances created, which is one of those new age stats. But we create chances. Pedro Neto's had a great tournament. He's the player of the tournament. I don't know if you know that. He scored 4 goals in like 4, I think in 5 games. Has it been 5 games?
That's been 4 games.
4 games. Yeah. He scored. If he were to continue on the pace that he's going, he would win some silverware for what he's doing. But Yeah.
But yeah,
we'll see how it plays out. It's going to be a great game.
Great game. Looking forward to it. And that's it. Any last words?
I don't think so. I don't really think so.
I think it was an extensive episode.
Yeah, for sure.
We covered a lot, and again,
I think honestly, what I will say is, it's gonna get sticky if we do meet in the final. It's gonna get sticky.
That's fair.
Yeah.
You know, I haven't processed it all the way there. Like, we could meet in the final.
I just clocked it. I clocked it like yesterday. You're not clocking it. It's going to be intense. There's a lot of money on the table. Yeah. I think both a win for either club would represent a really big boost. Yeah. For either, not only monetarily but
that would be good. I think for the channel too. That would be
good for the channel. Yeah, for sure.
For the sport, good for the channel.
Yeah, I was talking to my friends, and this is the last thing I'll say, I promise. Yeah. My expectation going into this Club World Cup was not to win it all. Yeah. It's more so to get to the final or the semifinal. That was my expectation, just to get into the knockout rounds. Yeah. And now that I see the amount of money that you make, I think it's $21 million for this next game. And then if you win it, it's $40 million. If you lose in the finals, it's $30 million. So either way, each team goes home, leaving with something.
I mean, you've almost made your Delap money.
Yeah, back. We made the Delap money back by qualifying for the group stage right then and there. So it's going to be big for either team, and it's hotting up. It was a good tournament. Klopp can hate all he wants, but I think every club that's involved is probably happy with being involved.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we meet in the final.
Yes, keep it cordial.
We'll keep it cordial.
Oh yeah. See you guys later. If I dash you.
Oh man.